A rally is happening at the state capitol in Sacramento today to push Assembly Bill 1038 over the line. This is our attempt, guys, and this is how we take control of our wildlife management. This is the bear bill. Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel today. That's right, we are revisiting the big bad bear bill as we continue to try to push it through the legislature. This should be a good thing, and to do that, we have brought back our legislative director. He's also the host of the Firing Line Radio. You can find him on AM 590, The Answer, every Saturday at 1 p.m. That, of course, is Rick Travis. Rick, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, really quick, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to these videos. It really helps get the message out as far and wide as possible. That collectively is what we're trying to do during legislative season. We need to get as much advocacy as we possibly can to get these pro-2A bills over the line, as well as stopping the anti-2A bills. So one more time, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps get this information out. So let's revisit this by doing the legislative digest really quick. Jacob, can you pull this up? If you guys haven't been following along and haven't seen our previous video on this bill, the legislative digest reads like this. This bill would require the commission to establish seasons during which a person would be authorized to allow dogs to pursue a bear if the person does not injure or kill the bear or allow the bear to be injured or killed while engaging in the activity as specified. The bill, after the Department of Fish and Wildlife finalizes the update to its 1998 bear management plan. Let me pause really quick. That is a bear management plan that is almost 30 years old, so it needs to be updated. Would authorize the commission to establish a bear hunting season during which a person pursuant to a bear tag would be authorized to allow dogs to pursue the bear in any area determined by the commission. So Rick, we're revisiting this bill for a good reason. We got a rally going on in Sacramento. We got a bunch of different groups, bunch of people there to advocate for this bill. But before we get into that, can you just give us the context? What is the catalyst for this bill? What's the reason why it's so important right now?
Well, for one thing, Kevin, and I thank you for letting me be on today. This is very near and dear to me. We have seen our predator population in California go unregulated. CRPA for the past decade plus has been arguing in front of the Game Commission and other committees that we need a master predator plan because we're doing species-specific predator plans, most of them grossly outdated by more than a quarter to a half a century, depending on the predator. And these would be things like wolves, bears, coyotes, mountain lions, bobcats, etc. And what we have allowed in the state is for people to throw up a really nice picture of a mama bear and a baby bear and say, that's nature all the time. And it's not. That baby bear grows up to be a 400 or 500 pound Bruin that can wreak a lot of havoc, a lot of destruction. I love bears. I have nothing against bears. Our opponents want to put out that every one of us that has any critique of management of any wildlife want to kill everything. That is the biggest lie out there. This bill comes as a result of three things. One, Kevin, about 10 years ago, we had a bill that got passed that removed dogs from bear hunting. And what we have seen as dogs have been removed from the hunting landscape and from the ranching landscape is that wildlife is no longer fearing humans. Because what has happened in the historical past was, and I can use my grandparents had a part ownership in a sheep ranch. The moment, you had a coyote or a cougar or something start to move in on the sheep, you let the dogs go, and behind the dogs came the horses with the ranchers and the guns on them. So when mountain lions and coyotes and other things heard the dogs, they were like, uh-oh, horses and humans are coming. That doesn't turn out well for us, and they would run. Now they're like, whatever. Because without the dogs, they realize there's no way they can be cornered, and so they take off. And they do their killing. They do a lot of other things that we could go into an hour-long video on that I'm not going to do. So in Lake Tahoe area was one of the areas that was really hard hit by our bear population, which is not in the neighborhood of 25 to 30,000, which is about what the land can handle in California. We're at closer to 65 to 85,000, depending on whose numbers you take from U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service down to the Department of Fish and Game, who will also tell you the number is hard set in their bear plan, 65K plus or minus 15, which could take it up as high as 80. So I feel comfortable giving that number because it's well documented. As a result of that overpopulation, multitudes of problems that we're having in the landscape, from prey species like deer and other wildlife being decimated to other predators being pushed deeper into urban environments, which has led to negative human interaction. And we're not talking like car accidents alone. We're not even talking about livestock alone. We're talking about where we had a bear up in Sierra County that, after repetitive, and I don't want to, repetitive warnings, repetitive documented calls for help, went unheeded because of failed policies in the state. And as a result, a bear broke into a house that had tried to break into 4 or 5 times and killed the inhabitant, the woman, inside of her bedroom. So we now have bears and cougars who have become people eaters who are going in, and we still have a legislation that is not wanting to react. If we can save one person, is what I hear all the time, Kevin, we should enact this gun law. But when it comes to, wow, if we enact these wildlife laws, we could save multiple people. Well, should we? Becomes kind of what they're saying on the other side.
Well, we certainly wouldn't want to do that if it has the potential to put stress on an animal. That's the best argument that I've heard from the other side, which compared to human life should not be an argument at all. But basically, it sounds like what you're saying is that there's an overpopulation. There's too many bears, and it is literally driving them out of the woodworks into contact with humans, and it is not resulting well.
You bring up a really salient point that I want everyone to understand. We categorize wildlife as endangered, meaning they're about to be taken off the planet. That would be something like, oh, California's Thule elk. They're not quite endangered, but they're close to being threatened. And if we allow failed policy to continue to happen, they will move to those two categories. Threatened is, it's really bad, but it's not bad enough to be considered endangered. Then there are of concern animals. They haven't quite made it to. Then there's normal. And then there's another category, Kevin, and I want to really highlight this, of least concern. Meaning we have so many of this freaking animal that if we lost a bunch, while tragic, while sad, I'm not taking that away, the species as a whole it's going to be fine. Coyotes and bears are species of least concern. So all the rhetoric you see in the press of, oh, we have to save the bear. No, we don't. They're of least concern. We have more than any bad thing going through could handle.
Yeah, and needless to say, similar to the cougar bill, this bill doesn't actually authorize the killing of any bears. All that it does is authorize the use of dogs to haze the bears so that we can, again, train them to not have this detrimental human contact, detrimental, of course, to the humans. So seeing the overpopulation, seeing the bears, like I said, literally coming out of the woodworks, what we have now are people coming out of the woodworks. We've got a rally going on in Sacramento. Rick, what can you tell me about this rally? Who's involved? How big of a showing is it? And what are the key things to know about the bear rally in Sacramento?
The rally happened this morning. It was incredible. We had Assemblymember Hadwick, the author of the bill, speak and MC the rally. We had Sheriff Jeff Lykoff out of El Dorado County come out and speak on the bear issue because El Dorado is where Lake Tahoe is. We had the sheriff from Sierra County where the unfortunate incident happened where the lady was killed in her home. We had members of the wildlife community. We had a very dear friend, Lori Jacobs, who runs the California Houndsmen for Conservation, and she was out there speaking on it. And this also, I'll point out, we pulled all the right permits. We did everything by the book. The CHP was out there. They were very happy with the way we did it. And our opponents did not pull permits, broke all the rules. They had one person standing across the street with a single sign saying, to protest. And then they're trying to hold a counter rally today, again, without permits. And this just goes to speak to the opposition we face. And I will tell you right now, the CHP will say what they did was wrong, but you will not see a single legislator on the Democratic side of the House call these people out for breaking the law or breaking the rules.
I'm sort of curious what you think about this. Well, I mean, I guess first of all, awesome. A lot of support there for the Bear Bill, but I'm sort of curious what you think about this. And again, we saw so much happen with the Cougar Bill, so I'm going to keep referencing it here. When they bring forward, arguments like something like this would stress out the animals. How exactly do you combat that in conversation with the legislature? Are these arguments that should really be able to stand on their own when you're comparing them to animal taking a human life?
No, I mean, flat out, simple answer, no. So why does that happen? It happens because stress, anxiety, mental health are all big talking points amongst humans right now and have been since the COVID obviously that to the forefront. And so the opposition has learned to use that quite well. But what you have to think about is you can't have it both ways. There are a lot of motivation posters that say when you get up in the morning in Africa, you better be on your feet moving because whether you're the lion or the gazelle, the slow one's not going to make it through the end of the day. That's stress. And that is what nature is like. I mean, in nature, there are constant stresses. And to say, oh, well, but you're bringing dogs in. And so dogs have a unique stress. Okay, we have dogs in the wild, Kevin. They're called wolves. They're called coyotes. They already exist in the wild. They already stress out bears. This is not new. And so for people to make it like this is something unique that man is creating, it's not. It has been around for hundreds of years. There is no statistical evidence that shows that, oh, dogs create a different stress and that bears can't handle it. We don't have bears going to see psychologists. This is stupid.
Well, fair enough. So, what are your final thoughts on this? You have the rally in Sacramento. You got a lot of support for it. What's the path forward for this bill? Are we coming up to a committee? We've already seen committee opposition to a really good wildlife bill in Senate Bill 818. Do you expect to see the same kind of opposition? What do you see the path for this bill being?
Yeah, we're going to have opposition. I mean, and I have to get off this video to go in, but at Water Parks and Wildlife, we're going to have opposition today. That opposition is going to make the claims of this is a hunting bill. It is not. They're going to say they want to kill bears. This has nothing to do with killing bears. It has to do with pushing bears back and helping bears survive. They're going to sit there and make claims of like bears aren't a threat to humans, really, because that's documented the opposite way. We will have sheriffs and law enforcement and fish and game personnel and others saying the opposite. And then I think what you will see is who's paying for these members to vote the way they vote. Because common sense, you would be voting for AB 1038. But if you're not, it's because you're being influenced, and I will argue financially.
Well, certainly some advocacy that can still be done on this bill. Still a long path forward if it makes it out, but we're certainly hoping that it does make it out of committee. Guys, and Jacob, can you put the landing page for our one-click politics campaigns in the description below? Guys, we've already done our big push on Assembly Bill 1038, but if you didn't get the email or you haven't done it yet, go ahead and click on that link. You will find the link for Assembly Bill 1038. That is a way for you to advocate for the bill. It's always good to be communicating with your legislators there. Rick, I want to thank you. I know that you're a busy guy going into a meeting at the moment, it sounds like. So thank you for taking the time to come on and share with us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And guys, one more time, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to these videos. If you like this kind of content, if you want to continue to see it, and if you want to see it get pushed out even further, those likes, shares, and subscribe really help grow the channel and get this information to as many people as possible. So please go ahead and do that. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you on the next one.